What's going on, you guys? I'm, as always, Mr. Grimreaper Fallen 2 with Dark Knight 87 back with me again, and welcome to another episode of Rip from the Silverscreen. Tonight, we're going to give you guys another a review of the 2013 remake to Evil Dead. Now, Evil Dead, of course, you know. Now, this remake is, let me see here. Okay, so the remake is directed by Fede Alvarez. It is produced by the original team behind the original Evil Dead, Robert Tabbert, Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell. It is based on the Evil Dead series by Sam Raimi. This film stars Jane Levy, Shiloh Fernandez, Lou Taylor Pucci, Jessica Lucas, and Elizabeth Blackmore. Roque Banos is the guy doing the music this time, taking the reins from I think taking the reins of Joseph DeLuca, who did the original music from Evil Dead. So remember when we were talking about this a little bit? Remember when we were talking about the 2013 remake a little bit?
Yeah.
And the first Evil Dead review that we did, and the original Evil Dead review that we did. Well, this one is a little different. Because instead of four friends going to a cabin just to go to a cabin, in this one there is these friends are going to this cabin to deal with one of their friends' drug problem. Mia is trying to who is played by I believe Jane Levy, I think, yeah. So Mia in this one is trying to get over a drug habit to heroin, and her friends, her brother and her friends are trying to are going to the cabin to try to get her off of, to try to detox her and stuff like that. And detox is very, very hard to do, especially when you're really into, the drug you're into. You know what I mean? So, okay, so the movie starts out with David and his girl. Okay, so before we start about that, the movie actually starts when a girl who we believe is possessed by the Evil Dead force, is her father and you see a bunch of people at the beginning of the movie. And this girl, if I remember correctly, this girl is tied up. They two guys punched her right in her fucking face, and then they tied her up. Her dad is they're trying to do an exorcism. They're trying to get this force out of her. Or I guess, I don't know. But she starts becoming a deadite and stuff like that. And her dad, as Evil Dead fashion, shoots her in her fucking head. So I think this one, I don't know if this one had, because it looks like it's different from the original Oh, so okay, so it is still the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Okay, but they call it the. And this one they call it the Notarum Demonto. According to that, according to what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the opening credit, we get into the story up here. David and his girlfriend Natalie arrive at the cabin in the woods, where the pair meet up with his younger sister Mia and his friends Eric and Olivia. The group plans to stay in the cabin while Mia overcomes her addiction to heroin, which we talked about. The group discovers the cellar littered with rotting animal corpse, a shotgun, and a book called the Notorum de Monto, better known as the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Eric, despite written warnings, reads aloud and an incantation awakens a malevolent force known as the Evil Dead, because he's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Mia begins seeing a bloody girl in the woods and begs the group to leave because she is scared. They refuse, believing that she has simply experienced the effects of withdrawal. Mia steals the car keys and drives away from the cabin. As Mia drives her way out, she then sees a demon girl on the road, startling her, causing her to pull over and crash into the swamp. Emerging from the mud water, the demon chases Mia through the woods. Mia stumbles into a circular opening to a thorn bush and becomes entangled by possessed vines. Ring any bells?
Oh boy.
Yeah, because it fucking should. Because this is what happened to. Wait a minute, I'm trying to remember who did this happen to. We were talking about the rape scene from the 1981 run.
Yes.
And I think what was the character? Who did it happen to in the first one? You remember?
Let me see. Just so we can put the bases with that.
Yeah, because it's kind of this is kind of a revamp of what happened to the person that it happened to in the first film. Because I don't really remember. I remember the review very vividly, but it's been a while. So
the character name is Cheryl. In the original one, it was Cheryl who gets attacked.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so. Let me see. As Mia struggles to detangle, she then sees an abomination version of herself. Thorny vine comes out of its mouth and rapes Mia, crawling its way up Mia's leg into her nether regions, successfully infecting her with a possession. David and Olivia find Mia and take her back to the cabin. Later, David finds his murdered dog along with a bloodied hammer and goes to confront Mia, who is in the shower. In the bathroom, he sees her scalding herself in a heated shower. Jesus Christ. Forgot about this part. David tries to drive her. Scalding. I'm talking about 100 degrees.
Yeah. Very hot water that can melt your skin off.
Yeah. David tries to drive her to the hospital, but heavy rains flood the only road back. Meanwhile, Eric becomes more and more convinced that the book is the cause of all that. That night, the possessed Mia comes into the living room with a shotgun and shoots David in the arm. As a strong wind blows through the cabin, Mia warns the others that they are all going to die tonight, after which she passes out. David instructs Olivia to get the gun away from Mia, but before she can, Mia wakes up and overpowers her, then projectile vomits blood all over her face. Olivia manages to shove Mia off, sending her tumbling down into the cellar where she is locked in by Eric. Olivia goes to the... Hold on. Is there a copay on your ranks? Sorry, guys. I apologize for that. My mom's texting me. I apologize. Okay, now what was I? Okay. Okay, Olivia goes to the bathroom to wash the blood off her face and gets a sedative for Mia, but is terrified when she sees her own disfigured reflection in the mirror. Olivia tries to rush back to the others, but becomes frozen and possessed before she could get out the room. Hearing a door slam, Eric goes to the room and finds her cutting into her cheek. Oh, with a mirror shard behind the shower curtain. Oh God. Olivia attacks and stabs Eric in the chest, who grabs a broken piece of the sink and bludgeons her to death. In the shed, David nurses Eric's wounds, and Eric confides that he believes that when he read the book, it released something evil. No shit, Sherlock.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Mia lures Natalie into the cellar where she bites her hand. Natalie tries to attack Mia with a box cutter, but Mia takes it from her and uses the blade to split her own tongue in half. Before planting a bloody kiss on Natalie's mouth. Ugh. David opens the trapdoor, interrupting the assault and allowing Natalie to escape. After the demon tells him that Mia no longer exists, he chains it up and locks the cellar door. Eric explains to David that according to the Notorum de Monto, I'm not gonna say that name. It's the Necronomicon, morons. The Taker of Souls must claim 5 souls in order to unleash the abomination. In the kitchen, while cleaning the bite wound, Natalie becomes convinced that her arm is infected and amputates it with an electric knife.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. David does his best to patch her wounded arm, while Eric continues to explain that Mia must be purified either by a live burial, bodily dismemberment, or burning. As they debate, the possessed Natalie attacks the pair with a nail gun. David manages to shoot off her remaining arm with a shotgun. Natalie turns back to normal but collapses into David's arm and bleeds to death. Eric convinces David to kill Mia, and David plans to burn down the cabin with Mia in it. However, as Mia starts singing a song from their childhood, he has a change of mind and decides to bury her. Instead, he digs a grave, then enters the cellar to subdue Mia, who attempts to drown him. Eric intervenes and clubs Mia with a hammer, but not before being fatally stabbed and succumbing to his wounds. David proceeds to sedate and bury Mia, unearthing and defibrillating her afterwards, which causes the demon to be exorcised and heals her. The siblings reconcile as David enters the cabin to retrieve the car keys. A possessed Eric's corpse stabs in the neck with barbed wire cutters. Mia, who escaped her buried hole but is now back to normal from being healed, comes in and sees David with a wound in his neck. Mia tries to help him. David tells Mia to go without her, which she refuses to leave without him. Mia is then distracted by the possessed corpse of Eric when seeing it, allowing David to lock Mia outside himself and shoots a gasoline can inside, destroying Eric's body and killing himself. Mia tearfully watches the cabin burn down to the ground and picks up an empty amulet. A drop of blood falls on it, blood rains from the sky, and the abomination arises. Since 5 souls have been claimed, the abomination attacks Mia. Mia tries to flee in a car, but the abomination bursts through the window, stopping her. Mia rushes into the cabin, which stopped burning due to the rain, and grabs a chainsaw to fight back, setting the chainsaw oil in it to turn it on. Mia's hand gets stuck under an open car window. Mia tears off her hand free and grabs the chainsaw. Very different from the first movie.
Very different.
Mia then halves the abomination with a chainsaw. Its corpse sinks into the ground and the blood rain stops. Mia escapes into the woods and wanders off in the distance. Unknown to her, the Book of the Dead still intact. In a post-credit scene, a silhouetted Ash Williams says groovy and looks at the camera before it cuts to black. And that's the end of this movie. Okay, so this movie's very different from the original 1981 film. And I'm surprised that he never watched it. but this film is more. While the original one was kind of funny in a way, was kind of what I say, comical maybe. The original one was maybe, or I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, but yeah, the original one is just four college friends, going to a cabin to just, hang out and all that. Well, this one is very different because Mia is overcoming addiction to heroin, and she's trying to get past that. All in all hell breaks loose. Oh, man. And why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Why did you read from the fucking book, you idiot?
Really?
Knowing... it's just... Yeah. So, there is some references from the original films. The rape scene from the original 81 film. The part where Mia has to she gets her hand stuck. She gets her hand stuck under an open car window, and she has to rip it off. That's, I think, does Ash cut his hand off in the first movie, or was it the second one?
It was the second one.
Okay, so that's a reference to it's a reference to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Evil Dead 2. So yeah, there is some references to the original movie, but is this film an actual but is this film an actual is this film maybe an actual freaking sequel? Could this film be an actual sequel to the original films for Evil Dead? Sort of, kind of, sort of. It's kind of, sort of a soft reboot to the original 81 film, but is a continuation of the original films. So we don't know if sorry guys, my mind's all but anyway, but yeah, so the only thing that has anything to do with the original films is the post-credit scene, where we see Ash Williams and stuff like that. And also there's another reference to this as well, because if you remember from I believe it was the first film, they listened to a tape recording of what's his fucking name? Professor
Nobi.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so during the credit scene, you listen to during the end credit scene, you're listening to a tape recording of Professor Nobi. But the problem is that they do it twice, like at the beginning of the movie and at the ending at the end credits, and that's the I do like the fight scene between Mia and the Abomination, because she's kind of like a female version of Ash in a way, especially after she gets her hand cut off she has to try to fight this demon that was awakened from Eric's fucking stupid idiocy when he decided to open the damn book. But yeah, I don't know, man. Can I say that this is better than the original? Hell no, not by a mile.
Not by a long shot.
Could I say that this film had good moments in it? Yes, I can. I can say that. Could I say that people made dumb mistakes again? Yes.
Of course.
But I don't know. From me reading everything, do you kind of get an idea of what the film entails? As a fan of the original Evil Dead movies, what do you think of this one?
Well, for me, I personally, I really don't like remakes of classic movies. I know they're trying to, I guess, make them reborn, if you want to say. But this one was more gorier, actually more scarier than the original. Because the originals weren't so bad. This one was a lot more, you know what I mean?
This one had more horrific moments. This one had more...
It did.
More horrifying moments, especially with what happens with the friends and all that, how the friends die in the film.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Exactly, and so you can't top the classic. You can't top the original movies because the original was so much better. The people, sorry,
yeah.
The people to remake these films like this, then make it more scarier, more more freakier. For this one, I'm not gonna say it was bad. I did actually watch it. I'm not saying, I'm not gonna say that it sucked. But what I'm just trying to say is that this movie, you can't top the classic. This movie was okay. To me, in my opinion, it was okay. But again.
Yeah, hold on, man, real quick. Do you think Mia could have worked? Do you think Mia could have worked out in the Astros of the Evil Dead series?
Well, if they found a way to incorporate her, maybe she would. I don't know. They would meet her. Maybe they could do something where they meet her in the series. She tells them her experience about it. I don't know. I'm just saying. This new Evil Dead, kind of. They do mention the book, but they have to change the name of it. We don't know the name of the book. It's the Necronomicon Mortis.
Yeah, but for some reason they had to change it to Notorum Demento or whatever.
Yeah, Demento. Yeah,
which I thought was kind of dumb and stupid. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, man. I want to like this movie. I want to say that this movie was good. This good. Which it was. I'm not gonna say that it was a shit movie, because there is stuff in here that's really good. I just had some problems with this, man. I think they tried too hard to make it like the original.
Yeah, exactly.
But by adding newer ideas to this remake and saying that it's part of the world of Ash, saying that it's part of the Evil Dead realm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead world. I thought Mia as a Deadite was really good. I like how they incorporated the Deadite feel to it, but it wasn't. It's not Sam Raimi. You know what I mean? Sam Raimi, his shots are very, very fast. They're very quick. They're especially the shot of the Force coming coming in and swaying to the trees and all that, and you know what I mean. It's like I think the director was trying too hard to become Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Because it was just and also too the camera was like very very different too, because it had a more greedier tone than that of the original Evil Dead films.
Yeah.
Which is okay, which is all right.
Yeah.
But you know, I still would have liked to have seen. I still would have, if they would have put, if Ash would have been in this movie, then it would have made sense. You know what I mean? I think Mia, they were trying to make Mia into the new Ash and stuff like that. And but I don't know. Do you think this movie worked? Do you think that this movie worked out, or what do you think, man?
Well, like I said, I think maybe just people it worked out. To me, I'm not gonna say that it didn't. I'm not gonna say it sucked, but and you said it yourself. You know, I think they were trying to make it like the classic film, but you know, it just wasn't there. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this one was okay. Like I said, I mean, had it worked, I think maybe they would have done a new sequel to this. You know, I think, but I don't know. I don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't know neither. So you're probably asking, Grim, what'd you give it? If you liked it a little, if you liked it somewhat, what did you give it, Grim? So, well, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was okay. It had its moments. It had its moments and stuff like that. But yes, the horror was there. The horror aspect was there. But I think this film was trying too hard to be like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. But I get what they're trying to do. I get that the director was trying to take a newer turn to the Evil Dead series. But I think they just tried too hard. But I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what exactly y'all guys think of Evil Dead 2013 and all that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'm Mr. Grimreaper, and I'll see you on the afterlife. Peace.